Hello, everyone. My name is Frances, and I'm 25 years old. 3 years ago, I had the joy of marrying the love of my life. Everything was progressing wonderfully, even though my husband is Spanish, and we initially faced the typical challenges of a language barrier. Out of deep love for him, I decided to secretly start learning Spanish to improve communication with him and his family. My husband, Raymond, and my mother-in-law, Maria, were completely unaware of my efforts to master Spanish. My dedication paid off, and I became quite fluent, confident that I could manage on my own if I ever found myself alone in Spain. You might wonder why I didn't reveal my new skill to my husband. Honestly, I was a bit timid about it. Speaking someone's native language can be daunting, especially when you're with them all the time. However, I realized it was time to break the barrier and start using Spanish with Raymond and Maria to enhance our interactions. Ironically, holding back on speaking Spanish initially turned out to be fortuitous because I stumbled upon some surprising information one day. It unfolded like this. "Hello, Mama. How are you? Thank you for coming over this lovely Sunday afternoon," Raymond greeted his mother. "It's our pleasure, Mom," I added. "Hello, my daughter. How are you? I'm so glad you included me," Maria responded warmly. "You're always wanted and welcome here," I assured her, as she brought Kaiser rolls and brioche for our afternoon tea. "How lovely, thank you so much," I expressed, inviting her to sit. "The food will be ready soon." "No, I did most of the prepping, don't worry," Raymond whispered to his mother. "Thank God," she sighed in relief. Hearing this, I was taken aback. Maria had always praised my cooking, so her relief at not eating my preparations puzzled me. At the moment, I assumed she simply preferred her son's cooking that day, perhaps seeking a taste of nostalgia. However, this incident sparked my curiosity and led to a series of unexpected discoveries. As the conversation unfolded, I overheard Maria whispering, "I hate her cooking. Why did you invite me here instead of taking me to a cafe where we could avoid her food?" "Mom, we agreed to speak English so Frances doesn't feel left out, remember?" Raymond gently reminded her. "Oh, forgive me, my sweet daughter." Maria quickly corrected herself with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "I was just saying that the food looks so good. I was surprised to learn it was my son who made it." "Oh, how I wish it was you who had cooked. I love your cooking." At that moment, I was utterly baffled. How could she express such harsh sentiments in Spanish and then falsely praise the food in English? Doubting my translation abilities, I decided to implement a plan to confirm my suspicions. "Please, don't feel obliged to switch languages on my account. Go ahead and speak Spanish. I'll manage just fine," I encouraged them, hoping to catch more of their true feelings. Unbeknownst to them, I had my phone set with the Google Translate app ready to record and verify their conversation. As we all sat down to dine, the discussion that ensued left me reeling. "We need to talk about our plan. The time is almost upon us. It's tomorrow, Raymond. You need to take this seriously," Maria pressed. Using both the app and my growing understanding of Spanish, I confirmed they were indeed plotting something. "Not now, Mom. I said I'll handle it," Raymond replied, visibly annoyed. "Could you please pass the sugar, Frances, darling?" Maria asked, switching to English. "She doesn't know anything about the plan. I was just going to tell her I would be out of town." "Out of town? For what?" Confusion swirled within me. As I glanced down at my phone to follow the translations, they might have assumed I was distracted by something else. This lapse led them to drop their guard and speak more openly, revealing their true intentions. "She's not too bright. Look at her glued to her phone. We can discuss this now," Maria whispered, not realizing I was following every word. "Okay, Mom. Fine. What do you want to discuss?" Raymond sighed. "The plane leaves at 4 p.m. Are you sure you'll be able to slip away from her then?" Maria queried. "A plane? Escaping me? What on earth was happening?" My heart pounded as the reality of their deception began to dawn on me, sparking a mix of emotions and a determination to uncover the full extent of their secretive plans. Despite the unsettling revelations, I maintained my composure and pretended not to understand their conversation, aiming to strategically plan my next steps. "Yes, Mama, I understand. I'll take care of it. It's crucial," Raymond assured Maria. "It's extremely important. If your great-uncle doesn't see us tomorrow, he might leave the house to someone else, like your cousin or your aunt. We can't let that happen." "No one needs to know about this house," Maria insisted in a hushed tone, glancing briefly at me before chuckling. "Oh, Mama, you're so funny. Don't worry, I just said that in English so she won't suspect what we're discussing." "Who, Francis?" "Yes, oh, sorry, my love. I was just asking who made this delicious tea. It's splendid." "That would be your talented son. I'm afraid I'm not quite as skilled with these things," I replied, playing along with their facade. "Oh, darling, your cooking is amazing," Maria flattered. Then, under her breath to Raymond, she added, "Amazingly terrible, Mom. She will catch on." "She can't catch us. She's too simple to understand," Maria whispered dismissively. "I don't know, Mom. She understands some basics," Raymond cautioned, then turned to me with a probing question. "Francis, how much Spanish do you know?" At this critical juncture, I knew I had to feign ignorance to keep their guards down and continue to witness their true colors. "Oh, I'm still very poor at Spanish. I only know simple phrases, but that's about it," I lied. "That simply won't do, darling. You should learn more Spanish," Maria insisted with a sly smile. "Yes, ma'am, I will," I replied, playing the naive part. "Well, it's a good thing for Raymond and me, as we can talk about you," Maria joked with a mischievous glint in her eye. "I'm just, how do you say, kidding with you, Mascarino. We would never do that to you." "Aren't we doing it right now?" Raymond whispered to Maria, both chuckling at their private joke. Amidst their laughter, I continued to use Google Translate discreetly, validating their words. Simultaneously, I cross-referenced their statements using various apps, websites, and forums to ensure what I was hearing was accurate. I confirmed about 85% of their conversation matched with external sources, affirming my initial suspicions. It became clear that they genuinely harbored disdain towards me, mocking me openly while believing I was oblivious. Despite the emotional turmoil caused by their harsh words, I knew I needed to stay focused and continue gathering information. Their next conversation, however, tested my resolve even further. "This house is critically important," Raymond stressed in a hushed tone. "No one else can know about this. If we manage this right, we stand to make a substantial profit. It's a good thing I haven't told my wife about it. I don't want to share the spoils with her." "Everything must go smoothly," Maria agreed. "Your great-uncle Terry mentioned that the first one to contact him about this matter will inherit the mansion. We need to meet him in person before anyone else does. Then we can start remodeling and improving the place." "I can't wait to own that house in Los Angeles," Raymond mused. "It'll be my escape from my life here in New York. Sometimes I can barely stand being around her." "You're still so young. You shouldn't be tied down to someone like her. Come live with me in Los Angeles. You can enjoy your youth with women and booze, have a good time, and settle down later when you're ready," Maria coaxed. "Honestly, Mama, I think you're right," Raymond conceded. Hearing this betrayal shattered me. Tears welled up in my eyes. "Excuse me, is everything okay?" Raymond asked, noticing my distress. "Yes, I just need to grab something from the kitchen," I managed to say, excusing myself to avoid breaking down in front of them. Alone in the kitchen, I paced back and forth, trying to process the cruelty of their words. How could they speak so callously, knowing I was right there? Did they have no shame? As I tried to calm myself, a sudden opportunity presented itself when I spotted Maria's purse on the kitchen counter. Driven by a mix of hurt and determination, I decided to act. I carefully took her phone from her purse. Luckily, it was unlocked. Quickly, I sent Uncle Terry's number to my phone from her WhatsApp and then deleted the message from her device, erasing any trace of my actions. It felt like I was moving on pure instinct, not fully understanding why I did it at the moment, but grateful that I had. Now, with Uncle Terry's contact in my possession, I started to formulate a plan. I wanted to confront these people, to expose their schemes and deceit in a way that would impact them as deeply as they had hurt me. After subtly retrieving Maria's phone and securing Uncle Terry's contact, I returned to the dining room where the gathering continued, seemingly unabated by my brief absence. The conversation hadn't strayed far from their secret plans. "So, we leave for our vacation tomorrow," Raymond announced, sounding pleased. "I think it's well-deserved given all the hard work we've been putting in." "I second that. We deserve this break," Maria agreed, then turned to me with a smile. "Is everything okay, dear?" "Yes, honey, we were just discussing the weather and how perfect it is for a getaway. Would you like to do something like that?" Raymond asked, seemingly innocuous. "Maybe not today, Raymond," I replied casually, keen to see their reaction. "Oh, okay. When would you like to go then?" "Maybe tomorrow," I suggested nonchalantly, watching them closely. Both Maria and Raymond tensed slightly, a reaction I was now attuned to look for. "I don't think tomorrow would be possible," I continued, fabricating an excuse. "I asked Raymond to help me with some chores around the house." "Oh, what things? Why is she asking so many questions?" Maria muttered under her breath. "Just moving things around," I said, trying to sound vague yet interested. "I can help also if you like," Maria offered, though her tone was forced. "That won't be necessary," I dismissed quickly. "See how nosy she is being? I don't like it one bit. You see why you have to leave this place," Maria whispered to Raymond, not realizing I could understand every word. "Don't worry, Mama, I've got this handled," Raymond assured her. Despite the stings of their words, I maintained my composure, smiling through the discomfort. I was still recording their conversation, capturing every detail until the very end. My proficiency in Spanish was solid, but I wanted to ensure I missed nothing critical. That night, I excused myself to the office under the pretense of needing to work. There, I replayed the audio I had recorded. My concerns about misunderstanding their Spanish were quickly dispelled. The clarity of their betrayal was stark. They planned to claim a house from Great Uncle Terry the next day, and their disdain for me was unmistakable, even discussing plans to leave me. A serendipitous bonus came when, during a moment of pacing in the kitchen, I inadvertently left my phone in the dining room, still recording. It captured Maria inquiring about Raymond's computer password and wanting to modify some details about their flight. With the password and flight details now in my possession, I had more leverage and information, further arming me for whatever actions I might decide to take next. I must have hit the jackpot when I logged into Raymond's computer. There, displayed prominently on the screen, were the flight details for the tickets he had booked. Overwhelmed by a mix of cunning and indignation, I couldn't resist the temptation to meddle. I changed the flight details, postponing their departure to the day after tomorrow. This small act of defiance was just the beginning of my plans. Having previously sent myself Great Uncle Terry's number, I was prepared to take the next step. "Hello, Uncle Terry, it's Frances," I greeted, my voice tinged with feigned cheerfulness. "Hello, darling. How are you? Is everything okay?" His voice came through, filled with concern. "Well, no, not really," I confessed, then proceeded to explain in detail the day's events. To bolster my case, I sent him the audio recordings of the conversations I had secretly captured, doubtful he would believe such deceit without proof. We ended the call briefly so he could listen to the recordings, and when we reconvened, his shock was palpable. "I don't even know what to say. How could Maria do this? And Raymond? They seemed so sweet and innocent when they were younger. How could they do this to you, to me? he lamented. I know, it's a lot to take in. It was shocking to me too, I replied, grateful for his sympathy. You've improved your Spanish, well done, Uncle Terry complimented, trying to lighten the mood. Thanks, Terry, but now that we know this, what do we do? I asked, steering the conversation back to the pressing issue. Well, obviously they're not going to get the house, that's a fact. After hearing all of this, there is no way I would bestow such a lavish and honorable gift to people planning to misuse it with their evilness and foolishness, he declared firmly. Okay, I understand. It's your house, and you have every right to decide what you do with it, I acknowledged. Yes, surely I do. From now on, I will be ignoring their calls. Let's see how they feel about that, he resolved. Thank you again for listening, Uncle Terry. You are a kind and good-hearted person. Please don't let the ugliness of this world change that. I expressed my gratitude. Thank you for your time and willingness to hear me out. What you heard today couldn't have been easy. I applaud you for your stoicism and strength. Please take care of yourself, he replied, offering mutual support. Thank you, Uncle Terry. Good night and take care, I concluded, feeling a mix of relief and sorrow. With that conversation, I had effectively secured Maria and Raymond's downfall. The dominoes were all set. Now I just needed to wait for the right moment to tip the first one and watch the rest topple. Returning to the bedroom where Raymond was still fast asleep, the pain of betrayal gnawed at me. It hurt to know that my husband, whom I loved dearly, would treat me this way. If only he had expressed his feelings, perhaps we could have found a way to compromise, but instead, he chose a path marked by deceit, and now I was left to navigate the fallout. Having reached my limit of tolerance, I quietly took Raymond's phone and disabled his alarm. Without the alarm to wake him, I knew he'd oversleep significantly. Meanwhile, I packed my things and decided to move to a hotel for the night. Staying in the same house with him, knowing what I now knew, was unbearable. The next morning, chaos undoubtedly unfolded back at the house. I imagined Raymond waking up to a barrage of missed calls from his mother, frantically trying to pack last minute because he hadn't bothered the day before. The scene of his panic played vividly in my mind. My suspicions were confirmed when I received a frantic call from him at 3 p.m. Where the hell are you? Why didn't my alarm go off and why aren't you here? Oh, I decided to take a little vacation day for myself, I replied calmly. That's nice. A little heads up would have been appreciated, though, he retorted. Yeah, likewise, Raymond, I shot back. What do you mean? He asked, confusion in his voice. Anyway, that doesn't matter now. I'm running late for my my meeting with Mom. Why are you in such a hurry? I'm sure she wouldn't mind you being a little late. You don't understand. Anyway, it's fine. I won't be home tonight and tomorrow night. I've got a lot I need to do. See you later, he said hurriedly before hanging up. In his rush, he hadn't checked his flight details, which I had altered to depart the next day. Through the Find My iPhone app, I saw that he made his way to the airport. I could only imagine him rushing out, barely making it in time for his flight, only to find out at the airport that it had been rescheduled. I pictured him, frantic and confused, pacing up and down the terminal. Then, unexpectedly, I received a call from Maria. Hell you! What have you done? What do you mean, Maria? Drop the act. I know you tampered with our flight. If by tampered you mean changed the date, then yes, that's exactly what I did, I confessed. Why would you do that? She demanded. I was trying to help you out. Didn't you say you needed Raymond's help with moving some things around? I noticed you had the flight foolishly booked for today, the day Raymond was meant to help you. So I decided to change some things. You're welcome, I said, half sarcastically. Raymond, come and talk to your wife, Maria shouted, clearly frustrated. As I hung up the phone, I felt a mix of relief and apprehension. I had set things in motion and disrupted their plans, and now I just had to wait and see how everything would unfold. Meanwhile, the distance provided me with the space to think about my next steps and how to handle the unraveling situation with my husband. Before I could react further, Maria's enraged voice boomed through the phone. "Before I reach through this phone and end this, Francis, I don't know what you've done, but you need to stop right now. Uncle Terry still isn't answering his phone," Raymond chimed in, sounding panicked. "Try again." "He isn't answering because he doesn't want to talk to you," I shot back, my voice steady and confident. "You can understand us? Every last word?" Maria's tone mixed disbelief with fear. "But how?" Raymond demanded. "I've been practicing," I stated plainly. "I told you, Mama. I told you she might be able to hear us," he said, turning towards his mother. "So that means yesterday you heard everything?" Maria asked hesitantly. "Yep. Here's what's going to happen," I began, my decision firm and final. "I'm going to divorce your good-for-nothing son and leave you two to your own devices. Have a blessed day. Oh, and by the way, the next time you want to talk about someone with them being right there in the room, make sure they don't understand what you're saying. Have a nice life." I hung up before they could respond, severing the conversation and their manipulative hold over me. Later that day, I received a call from Uncle Terry. "Hello, dear. How are you?" His voice carried a soothing warmth. "I'm a bit distraught. I just had an ugly fight with Raymond and Maria, and now I'm getting a divorce," I confided, the words heavy with emotion. "I'm so sorry to hear that, Francis. It's part of life, I guess. How are things on your end?" he inquired gently. "Well, I finally picked up that call and I gave them a piece of my mind, and they are not happy," I admitted. "What did you say to them?" Terry asked, curious. "I told Raymond that he's an idiot for treating you the way he did, and I told Maria that she's evil for roping her son into her schemes. And I also told them that I have given you the house." "You what?" My shock was evident. "Yes, dear, the mansion is yours, even if you get a divorce from Raymond. It's all yours, and you can share it with whomever you please," Terry explained, his voice firm and decisive. "I simply can't believe it, Terry. It's too much," I stammered, overwhelmed by his generosity. "I wanted this house to go to someone kind and compassionate, but also tough and strong when you need to be. And that's exactly who you are. A house is the least I could do after all the stress and turmoil those two put you through. The house is yours. Take it." With that, I not only managed to extricate myself from two toxic people, but also unexpectedly secured a future that promised new beginnings and freedom. Uncle Terry's unexpected gift was more than just property. It was a testament to faith in my character and resilience, empowering me to start anew on my terms. Despite the challenges at heart, the entire ordeal also left me with a multi-million-dollar mansion, a prize that Maria and Raymond had long coveted. The sight of me inheriting the house they had always dreamed of owning drove them to the brink, resulting in them sending me constant death threats. However, I handled their anger and resentment with an unshakable calm. Instead of engaging directly with their threats, I would simply respond by sending them pictures of various luxurious parts of the mansion. Each photo served as a stark reminder that the mansion was mine alone, not theirs. This form of silent but poignant revenge was profoundly satisfying. It was luxurious retribution, served cold,